the wind was strong enough to knock over this peach tree. I mean, it literally broke it in half. Guten yardening, everybody. Well, the wind is blowing nicely now, but we just had a big storm come through here. Probably, a once in a year storm for this area. Haven't seen too many like it, to be honest. The lightning was constant, the wind gusts were huge, and the result is that we had some loss. And I'm actually going to take you on a tour of some of what we lost during that storm. But I have to tell you, as bad as it gets here, I know there are other places that are certainly suffering more right now. There's some pretty bad storms happening. And we're going to do our best to recover what we can, harvest what we need to from the plants that have fallen, the ones that are ready, and we're going to keep going. The storm came along and broke off a couple of the stems here of one of our biggest tomatoes. This is a tomato that has hundreds of fruits on it. So we got to look at it this way. The storm waited long enough for us to be able to harvest these pieces, and then we'll take the pieces that are broken off and we'll try to push this back up and set it so that it'll live a little longer and produce a little more, the pieces that are still in the ground. Again, these tomatoes are resilient, just like we have to be. And these fruits still look great. We're going to enjoy every second. So we've got the plant back up as best we can. We're going to have to pull some of the pieces, the dead pieces off, but look at what we got. So the storm couldn't take these away. There's a whole bunch there. So one of the things that makes gardening so interesting to us is the mistakes that we make. We've never really had great success growing corn. In fact, this year we planted too densely, so the stalks of the corn never really got the strength they needed, and the ears, well, they didn't really develop as much as we'd like. But this is the second time that a windstorm has come and really just knocked everything over. So we're gonna see what we can actually harvest from here and salvage as corn. I look at this tiny harvest, and really, it's tiny. And I could be really, really disappointed at this time. But I remember 2 years ago, when we planted a whole bunch of corn, we were just ready to go out and harvest it. The night before, a raccoon came and ate all 200 and some odd ears that were out there. And so you know what happened this time? We still have corn. We're going to be all right. And it's live and learn. Next time we won't plant it so densely. We'll expect to get more. And it's not just the freak storms in nature that pop up and can really cause you to be discouraged when you see the corn that you've been growing for 70 days just tossed over like a rag doll. Our neighbors' beautiful sunflowers broken down into pieces. That can be so discouraging. It really can. We had this tree, this peach tree we had been growing, and it finally started to take off, it seems. It's taken a couple years. It finally started to take off, but we had had a little bit of damage from animals over the winter around the middle part of the trunk. And that created a weak spot. And so these gusts of wind, that's all it took to snap right in half. So we have this peach tree that we had hoped for the best. It's a contender peach. How beautiful that foliage is, but now it's gone. But if we get stuck thinking about what we lost, we're going to become so discouraged that we stop thinking about what we still have coming in. This Concord grape is going to be planted next season. It's got strawberries coming around it. We have the potential for hundreds of pounds of sweet potatoes still coming in. But you know, as discouraging as it can be to lose some of the plants that you've been working so hard to grow, we're not going to let that stop us. We're going to keep planting. You can't control everything. You can't always control which insects are going to come to town and try to feast. You can't control when the gusts of wind grow strong, but what you can control is your desire to be out here and to continue growing and expanding and making sure that the food you bring in is still that high quality food. Our potatoes are still growing great. And you know what else that wind couldn't do? It couldn't take out that little weed. No, that's not what I was gonna say. The wind didn't touch our strawberries. Look at that. Beautiful. Tastes even better than it looks. And these Brussels sprouts back here, the wind didn't mess with them. They have such a strong purchase in our clay soil. Some of our tomato plants suffered a bit, but some of them are still growing just fine. They're going strong. We have all of these new plants coming in. The okra coming in that we've never grown before. The storm didn't touch our grapes. We still got lots and lots and lots of grapes. There are always going to be moments in the garden that come up that frustrate you, that cause you to feel like maybe you want to give up and stop what you're doing. But don't. Think about the greater good of what you're creating when you're creating a natural food source for you, for your family, maybe even for your neighbors or your friends around you. You're doing something with your property, with your land, that can't be replaced if you stop trying to grow. A storm may come along, it may break a few plants down, it may break all your plants down, but you build back stronger, just like we're doing. And then you enjoy the literal fruits of your work, and you're going to remember just why you're out here doing this in the first place. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a like, leave us a comment, and let us know about a time where you had to deal with a storm that set you back a little ways, but you persevered. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to share and subscribe. And as always, when you're with us, you're good to grow.